On Monday, Canadians voted in an early election. Now, I've covered early elections on this channel in the past, but never have I covered one as pointless as this was. So, the Canadian government spent over $600 million essentially for an election redo in which the results were nearly identical to the election it was supposed to be replacing. Now, I know that for all the Americans, you're thinking, well, our government will spend $600 million just to train another 200 terrorists in Syria. But keep in mind, Canada is a much smaller population. In fact, Canada has fewer people than California. Now, the $600+ million price tag in and of itself was a big scandal because it cost over 20% more than the original election. And that's because the masterminds at Canadian Clown College decided that they needed to spend over $100 million on plexiglass, hand sanitizer, cleaning equipment, and 19.5 million pencils. Why do they need so many pencils? Because each voter was supposed to throw the pencil in the trash after they voted, and I guarantee the millions of leftover pencils, I bet they didn't keep them. I bet they threw them straight in the trash. Now, this comes at the orders of the Liberal Party and, of course, the New Democratic Party, which is their supporter, which basically brought about this early election. These two parties are screaming bloody murder about the environment and saving the planet. These are the people who are supposed to save the planet, people that spend $100 million on plastic glass made from fossil fuels with all kinds of chemicals and waste and pollution, and 19 million pencils to be thrown away after one day. Imagine you're a full-grown tree and you get chopped down and turned into pencils only to be used for 1 second each and thrown in the trash for an election that didn't even need to take place and had no real purpose. Now, before I get into it, the Canadian Parliament has 338 seats. There is no proportional representation. It's winner take all in each district. No matter how many parties run, whatever party comes in first place gets it. And so Canada is not like a Germany or Russia or Egypt or most of the world's democracies. It's more like America, Britain, and France. It's winner take all. Now, if you don't know about the current state of Canadian politics, the Prime Minister is Justin Trudeau, who first became a member of Parliament in 2008. Before that, he was a trust fund baby who went back and forth between being a professional college student and a substitute school teacher. And he was being groomed by leaders of the Liberal Party to be a future leader of that party. Essentially, they wanted someone with a certain look and attitude. They wanted a non-threatening, sensitive, pretty boy that women would vote for. That's the whole reason Justin Trudeau is Prime Minister. So in 2008, he had stopped being a substitute school teacher to go back to college again, and then he dropped out of college to be a candidate for the Liberal Party. He gets elected, and then in 2015, they put him up as their lead candidate for Prime Minister, and that was the huge triumph of the Liberal Party. So we've got the Liberal Party, which is basically far left clown college politics, although they're supposed to be for more like liberal free market economics. Then you've got the Conservative Party, which really isn't conservative at all anymore. You've got the Bloc Québécois. It's really hard to say. But that's basically like the pro-French Quebec Party. Then you got the New Democratic Party, which is far left clown college politics, but they're explicitly socialist. And then you've got the Green Party, and then this is the new party, the People's Party, which is like a conservative populist party by a former member of the Conservative Party, runs it, Maxime Bernier. Now, between the 2008 election and the 2015 election, the Conservative Party had gone from about 40% to 30%. The New Democratic Party went from like 30 to 20, and the Liberal Party under Justin Trudeau was triumphant. They went from like 20% to 40%. And I think they got something like their final tally in 2015 was like 39.5%. But with that 39.5%, they actually won 55% of the seats. So the Liberal Party had an outright majority, but then they had this sensitive, pretty boy prime minister with no experience, completely out of his league, walking around saying idiotic things. The government's been a basket case ever since. So then in 2019, the Liberal Party came down some. It got 33.12. The New Democratic Party actually didn't make a comeback. They actually, I think they came down even another point or two. So what happened was the Justin Trudeau stayed in power as a minority government with the support of the New Democratic Party. But they've been fighting, and as the economic situation in Canada gets worse and worse, they couldn't get along, so they call this early election. And so we can see here that the original election, Liberal Party got 33.12. The election redo, they got 32.2. Conservative Party, 34.34. The new election Monday, 34%. Bloc Quebec, 7.63, 7.7. New Democratic Party, 15.98. Monday, they got 17.7. Now, the Green Party actually did terrible. The Green Party got 6.55% in 2019. They got 3 seats, but the media was treating them like a major party. Well, they got 2.33% overall Monday. Basically, they had 2 candidates that still came in first place in their district, but then all their other candidates for the rest of Canada barely got anything. Now, really, the only person that can say that they won any kind of victory was Maxime Bernier, which people are calling Mad Max, and his People's Party. So prior to the 2019 election, he was a member of parliament for the Conservative Party, and he broke ranks on immigration and a bunch of other issues because the Conservative Party won't hold any line. It's not really conservative anymore. And he starts his own party. Well, in 2019, he got a dismal 1.6%. This time he got 5.6%. Now, he didn't actually win any seats, but there's a silver lining here. So in late August, after this new election had been set up, the Conservative Party was actually polling in the 36-37% range. But their strategy was to move way further to the left and be more left-wing, abandon all remnants of the conservative stances they supposedly took, and it did not pay off. In fact, right off the bat, they lost 1 seat because they expelled their own candidate. So the province of Yukon only gets 1 representative because barely anyone lives there. So the whole province is one district. And the incumbent publicly said he opposes vaccine mandates. The so-called Conservative Party expelled him. I think his name's Jonas Smith. He was expelled for saying he opposes vaccine mandates. Well, he put his name back on the ballot as an independent. He took 1/3 of the Conservative Party's vote and spoiled that district for him. And so the Liberal Party got that seat. And then because Maxime Bernier's party was able to get a more significant amount of votes this time, well, Alberta is the most significant stronghold for the Conservative Party. Normally they get almost all the seats. It's a pretty good amount of seats. There's 3 members of the Canadian Parliament representing the Edmonton metropolitan area. Now, one of them, the Conservative Party, lost by a big margin, but the other 2, the Conservative Party just barely lost because the People's Party spoiled it for them. The People's Party took enough votes to cause the Conservative Party to lose one seat to the Liberal Party and 1 seat to the New Democrats. One of those districts, the Conservative Party was in second place by like 130 votes, and the People's Party got over 2,000 votes. The other one wasn't that close, but it was also by a pretty big margin. If the People's Party had not have been there, the Conservative Party would have won the seat. And there's 2 districts in British Columbia where the People's Party might have spoiled the seat for the Conservative Party, where if it wasn't for the People's Party, the Conservative, it's a toss-up who would have actually won. And so the silver lining is that the Conservative Party has now been put on notice that running to the left and abandoning conservatism is a losing strategy for them. And so they flat out sacrificed at least 3 seats and probably more seats than that. So Canada is going to more or less go back to exactly what it was the other month. Maybe the New Democratic Party will get some spots as ministers, but there's really not going to be any change. If you saw Justin Trudeau on the campaign trail, he sounded worse than Joe Biden. I mean, this guy is so utterly pathetic. He was alleging that women are being disproportionately affected by all his horrible lockdown measures. And so now we need to rescue the female population. And he was making up these weird words like sheflation and she-covery. We've got to support the she-covery. It's complete clown world nonsense. Canada is really going to hell. The lockdown measures in Canada have been so extreme, so crippling. I mean, you can only conclude that they're trying to destroy the country's economy on purpose. All right, thanks for watching this. Click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about this. And please subscribe to my backup channels on BitChute and Odyssey. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.